Okay guys, so I'm going to do a quick review on the law of sines and the law of cosines that we talked about for the last class, and then I'll continue on with the law of cosines so we can find angles, because that's using the same formula but a little bit different. Okay, and by the way, I haven't received any questions from any of you, so I hope you're doing well with this, and if you're not, you need to let me know right away. Okay, so the law of sine says the sine of an angle A is to the side opposite it. So sine of angle A is to the side opposite it is equal to the sine of angle B is to the side opposite, and then angle C and the side opposite. This might look like a right triangle, but it's not. So just remember that the numbers down here, A, B, and C, are the sides of the triangle, whereas the sine of A, the sine of B, and the sine of C, those are angle measures for some triangle. And you're going to use this with angle, angle, side, angle, or side, side, angle. So let's just do a quick review problem. So here you have triangle QRS. Make that a little bit bigger. Okay, and what we have to find here is X, right? So I have two angles and the non-included side, so I have angle, angle, side, AAS situation. So that means I can use the law of sines, right? So again, it doesn't matter what two of these you use, just use any two. So for instance, and I forgot a measure. This would be 10 here. Okay, so anyway, I want to find X. So I can say, you know, the sine of 54 is to X. X is the side opposite angle 54, is equal to, well, I know this, but I don't know the side, right? And I know this side, but I don't know the angle. So what am I going to do? I have to find R in this case, because if not, I'm stuck. Right? So how do I find it? I add those two angle measures up and I subtract from 180. And when I do that, so 180 minus 37 plus 54 gives me 89 degrees. So what I found is that this measure is 89 degrees. Now that I have that, now I can finish. So I can say as the sine of 89 is to 10, right? Now the rule is to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 10 sine of 54, so I just multiply those two together, is equal to X sine of 89. And remember that we have to get X by itself, so that means we're going to divide both sides by the sine of 89. And on this side, those are going to cancel. So now X is by itself. So we say X is equal, we're just going to rewrite this. And I'm going to put it into my calculator just like I see it, right? So again, remembering to be in degree mode on your calculator. It's 10 sine of 54, close the parenthesis, divided by the sine of 89, close the parenthesis, and you get about 8.1. So I'm just going to round it to the nearest whole number. So this side's about an 8, about 8 units long. Okay, then we did the law of cosines, and remember there were 3 formulas, but remember you're going to know what two sides of the triangle are. So it's the side you're looking for is equal to a side that's given squared plus the other side that's given squared minus 2 times the lengths of those two sides times the cosine of the angle that's given, and that angle has to be opposite the side you're looking for. That's if you're looking for a side. Also, this big A will always match the side you're looking for. It's always the side opposite. So this is little a and that's big A. So I just put some reminders down here of what I just said there, that, you know, A is the side you're looking for. And by the way, the other two formulas have like B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC was cosine B. It doesn't matter. The formulas are all the same. It's just the side that you're looking for, whether it's A, B, or C, it doesn't matter. is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides that are given minus 2 times the product of those two sides times the cosine of the angle opposite it. And you're going to use that with SAS and SSS. Okay, so I don't have one written out here, so I'm just going to pull one from the book. Let's do a quick problem to find the sides of a triangle. So maybe we have this triangle here, oops, get out of there. ABC, and this is X, and this is 7, and this is 62 degrees, and this is 4. Okay, and I want to find X, and it says round to the nearest tenth, so this is from your book. So look, this is the side I'm looking for, so it's side squared is equal to, now I have two other sides that are given, so 7 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 7 times 4 times the cosine of the angle opposite the side I'm looking for, which is like that, 62 degrees. And so now I'm going to clean up the right hand side. X squared equals to 49 plus 16 minus, so 8 times 7 is 56 cosine of 62. So I just did 2 times 7 times 4 and got 56. I hope that's right. I guess I should check. Yeah, that's right. And now I can clean it up even further by combining these two. I can add them. Do not subtract this. This thing here is the product of 56 times. So remember, you got to use PEMDAS. So I'm just adding those two together. 49 plus 16 is 65. So this is equal to 65 minus 56 cosine of 62. Remember, if we're looking for a side, we've got to take the square root of both sides. So X is equal to the square root of that little mess right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put that into my calculator, just as I see it. Square root key, 65 minus 56 cosine of 62. Close the parenthesis and hit enter. And it looks like the side length is 6.2. They asked to round to the nearest tenth, so it's 6.2 units in length. Okay, so finding the sides is really easy because essentially you just take the formula for the law of cosines, take the square root of both sides, plug the numbers in, and you're going to get the measure. For the angles, it's a little bit different. So the problem I'm going to do right now is from page 585 in your book, example number 6. And so this is example 6. And the figure that they give you here, ABC, has side measures only, 13, 15, and 12. So there it is, and what they want you to find is they want you to find the measure of angle A. So they want you to find the measure of this angle right here. So if I think about the law of cosines and the formula, okay, you know, regardless of what side, this time I've got all three sides. I'm not looking for a side, I'm looking for an angle. Piece of cake. If I'm looking for this angle, this is A, so that means this is side little a, right? So I can think of it as A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared. It doesn't matter which one of those sides you call B or C, minus 2BC cosine of A. This is something I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find it. Okay, let's plug in. A is 15, so that's 15 squared is equal to 13 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 13 times 12 times the cosine of A. Okay, so you use your calculator. 15 squared is 225, so I'm going to clean this up. 13 squared is 169, and 12 squared is 144. And 2 times 13 times 12 is 312. Now this minus is part of the formula, so I'm just bringing it down. Had one of these numbers been negative, and they can't be because they're the sides of a triangle, so they can't be negative, it would change it to a positive. But anyway, I'm just bringing down that sign. I'm just multiplying those three numbers and I get 312 cosine of A. Now if I clean up these two, if I combine them, I have 225 is equal to 313 minus 312 cosine of A. And now I want to solve for this. So we need to get this thing right here by itself. So this is negative 312 times cosine of A, so I'm going to subtract 313 first. So when I subtract, let me just write it down. When I subtract the 313, it cancels on the left, and what I'm going to get is negative 88 on the left hand side of the equal sign is equal to negative 312 cosine of A. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 312 to get the cosine of A by itself. So when I do negative 88 divided by a negative 312, that makes the number positive. So negative 88 divided by negative 312 is going to give me 0.28205. Now remember, that is not an angle measure to me. Oops, I'm sorry. Hang on here. Sorry. That's not an angle measure to me. What do we have to do? Remember, to get A by itself, we have to take the inverse cosine. So on your calculator, all you have to do is just say second cosine and then second minus key down at the very bottom. This minus key down at the bottom. And what it's going to do, it's going to put the answer from above in there for you so you don't have to retype it, and hit enter, and oh, it's about 74 degrees. So we would say A is approximately 74 degrees. What if we wanted to find the measure of angle B? What if we want to find this measure now? It's not a problem, right? I'm going to start with the side opposite. 12 squared is equal to 13 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 13 times 15 times the cosine of B, because that's the angle I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm just using the same formula that I've been using. I'm going to switch the pen color here. So that 144 is equal to 169 plus 225 minus 2 times 13 times 15 is 390. Right? And if I combine those, I'm going to have 144 is equal to 394 minus 390 cosine of B. And so now I'm going to subtract out the 394 from both sides. So it cancels on the right. 394 minus 144. Now remember, the signs are different, so you subtract and use the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is negative, so it would be negative 250 is equal to negative 390 cosine of B. And now to get that, darn it, sorry, my camera's propped up on a book and my paper is not moving the way I want it to. So now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 390 to get cosine of B by itself. Remember, a negative divided by a negative is going to give you a positive. So 250 divided by 390 gives us 0.64102. And now I'm going to take that inverse on my calculator. I'm going to do second cosine, second answer, and B is about 50 degrees. Okay, so you're going to do some practice on angles today. The lesson plan will, the problems will be on Edsby. You're going to really want to make sure that all of this work that you've been doing while I've been gone is very, very neat and in your notebook, because I'm counting it as test grades while I've been out. So make sure that no stone is left unturned. Make sure you do every single problem. Make sure if you have a question you ask me. Make sure you watch the videos and click the like button so that I know that you're watching it. And anyway, if you have questions, send me a note through Edsby or through Remind, and we'll review all of this again on Wednesday, and you'll have a little significant test on Friday. Have a good night.